Hello, my name is Joshua Reed, and your best self is waiting.
Welcome to the Redirect Podcast, where we explore what comes after career. Real conversations about transitioning from the 9-to-5 grind to your next great adventure. Whether you're heading into retirement or simply redefining what purpose means, we're here to inspire, inform, and help you reimagine what's next. This isn't the end of the road. It's the start of something new. Guys, today we're going to have a great conversation about exercise, fitness, and diet. And I'm really looking forward to talking to our guest because it's a big thing. And I think we all have to be aware of where we are physically, mentally, as well as our diet in order to make the best 30 that there is. So I'm 69 years old, and I've been working out. Back in college, I was lifting a lot. I lifted throughout my life and such. And, you know, I stay pretty active. Recently just signed up for Silver Sneakers. Needless to say, I'm very excited.
Tell us what Silver Sneakers is.
Silver
please.
Sneakers is associated with my health insurance plan, and I'm going to a YMCA, and I walked in there with my card, and I get full privilege to the YMCA, no restricted times. I can participate in all of their classes, just like I'm an official member of the YMCA, which I am through Silver Sneakers.
Wow.
And I have to admit, I sort of held back on admitting to sign up for Silver Sneakers because it's that pride thing, you know?
Right.
But I've been going to the gym now, and I've got myself into like every other day, an hour and a half workout. So I'm feeling pretty good about it. And plus all the other things that I do that you guys know. I love chopping wood. The recent snowstorms we've had, I've shoveled like 3 driveways in a day. And, you know, a lot of people come on up to me and say, you know, you're in pretty good shape for, you know, being 69 years old. And I'm like, well, you know what? I'm in better shape than people twice my age.
That's terrible. That's a terrible joke. That's a terrible joke.
Well, you know, it's always putting me up front.
That's
but,
right.
I'm
but
still
anyway,
stumbling over silver. Paid everything silver. I hear that and I go off. Some agency's got to jump on this and rename everything that's silver. We
That's
don't
right.
Like it.
There you go.
Sorry.
There you go. But speaking of exercise, let's sort of go around the horn a little bit here. Adam, what are you doing? Are you working out? What's your physical exercise routine if you have one?
So I was quite the gym rat a decade ago. I lost 50 pounds, stacked 20 pounds of muscle, and was just like the best shape I'd ever been in. And then health got me. I had some cancer things and just derailed, and testosterone crapped out, all of this stuff. And then I used a bunch of it as an excuse, started drinking too much, hit the depression skid like we've talked about before. Just lots of unhealthy habits and, negative steps in the wrong direction. And then been on this journey of new spiritual health, and I'm trying to get back on the physical health track. And over the past, I guess, probably 3 weeks, I found this interesting Chris Helmsworth workout. Yeah, he does a certain set of exercises, low weight, moderate repetition, high cycle, where it's like do 10 reps of this, but then do 10 cycles of that, and it's pretty fun, actually. Interesting. So yeah, that's what I'm doing right now.
Cool.
That's awesome.
What about you, Dale?
And I was a racket guy. It was basketball, it was tennis, it was squash, it was anything to do with rackets. And I stayed in great shape doing those exercises. But in the early 80s, I kind of got challenged by doing a triathlon, and all of a sudden running, biking, and swimming. I had to learn those. That was a new adventure. And I was like, okay, well, I can do that. Anybody can do that. It's probably why I didn't do it, because those were easy to do. You ran, and all of a sudden you get competitive, and got into that.
But I got a question for you.
Shoot.
When you were doing the racket sports and the marathon and cycling, you were doing the activity. Did you do anything in the gym in order to prepare yourself for those activities?
I did.
Oh, okay.
All of a sudden, for swimming, it became very apparent that the better swimmers did a lot of strength training, and that was really new for swimmers. They found out that you can be faster and stronger if you really strengthen the muscles you use for swimming, getting into the gym. But for preparing to when I got into the running, swimming, biking, then came mountain climbing. And then it was in the gym. I hired an instructor to just prepare me for climbing Mount Rainier. But you learn so much. Every time you go through a new adventure, you start learning. But one thing I hated, I get bored easy, is by going to a gym and working out with weights. And I struggle with that. But when I know there's something coming up, I'll hire an instructor. And now I've got a full-time instructor that I work with every week because I need to keep my muscle mass going, and that's really important. I'm still a cyclist. I'm still, I cycle 3-4 times a week. I'm on my Peloton when the weather's bad. I wrestle with my grandkids. That's a heck of a workout.
Yeah, just getting down on the floor.
Getting up and down, up and down, and up and down. And you hear a lot of people grunt, groan, and everything else if you got to bend over and get something. I don't want to be like that.
So, Adam, who's our guest today?
Today's friend of the Redirect podcast is Joshua Reed. Joshua is a certified personal trainer and nutritional coach with more than 10 years of experience. Joshua helps his diverse client base with innovative fitness techniques, nutrition, and holistic health coaching expertise to help them achieve their health and wellness goals. Joshua offers a home-based and online approach that is results-oriented, adaptable, and with a passion for designing training and nutrition plans to maximize performance, improve endurance, and increase overall well-being. In addition to being a health and fitness advocate, Joshua is a freelance writer and a content creator. Joshua, welcome to the Redirect podcast.
Thank you, guys. I'm very excited.
Thanks very much for coming on
Absolutely.
in today. We're looking forward to having a conversation about something that I think everybody wants to do better, but I don't know if we are.
I don't think anybody really wants to do fitness. And I say that in the means that, like, per Dale, you don't want to go to the gym. You don't want to be in one place. You want adventure. Even for me, if I had the option to be outside and chop wood or to go hiking for my activity, I would much rather choose to do that, shovel snow, etc., than be in the gym. I'd much rather do that than bench pressing and doing all this stuff. Going back to what Dale was saying about swimming and everything else, we're in the gym to focus on that functional fitness aspect of it to aid in reducing injuries. And
Talk a little bit about the type of people you're dealing with.
so I've been doing this for, Adam was saying 10 years, but probably closer to 15. And the beautiful thing about it is just like the number of people I've gotten to work with over that time period has just been a beautiful thing for me. Very, very diverse in individuals. I have a background in adapted physical activity. So even undergrad and my master's focusing on special needs. And so finding ways to aid them in working out. What does that look like for them? I've had online clients who are amputees, and how do I create this routine that works for them? And then it's like, for me, very ADHD. Each person's different. That means I get to do this with this person, this with this person, that with this person. And with somebody who has an amputee, it's like, ooh, I can go through down the rabbit hole of finding adapted equipment to help them do the deadlift because they really want to get into barbell deadlifts. So they make straps that wrap around the shoulder, down and around through the rib cage and wrap around and hooks onto the bar. So that aids in just like lifting from there. If somebody has really bad arthritis, we can look at wrist straps to connect to the bar. We're looking at balance. So going back to Dale's questions, thinking about the people that I work with is very diverse. I would say most of them range between the ages of 35 to 45, and there's this age gap. It's 55 to 83-ish. So everybody is very diverse in that some are very successful businessmen, and it's fun for me to learn from them. And then some are busy professional, your stay-at-home mom, just the individual who's looking to get healthier and whatnot.
Which probably represents the larger representation.
General population. So, I mean, even if you look at the fitness industry and you want to put it into a classification, we can say general population. So I've worked with lots of athletes, Xavier players. I was did athletic training for a little bit at Eastern Kentucky University, UK, fiddled with physical therapy, biomechanics, and all of that looked at everyone, general population, athletes. And so my preference is working with individuals who actually are curious and just want to get better. I find some individuals, even if you're a professional athlete, some people just don't, it's kind of like you have a particular mindset. So, yeah, that makes sense.
It does. And I want to sort of tear down some things here. So I'm going to first talk about our country. I'm then going to talk about the demographic that we represent, which is 55 and up. So how is the United States overall, and if you want to do male, female, feel free however you want to break it down. How's our country doing as far as being physically?
Not great. I mean, we know that. I mean, if we look at individuals in Europe, if you guys have traveled internationally.
I have not really.
You have not, yeah. So, I mean, even for me, so my previous marriage, we went to Europe, Rome, and getting there, you don't see many obese individuals. And you look at the portions aren't that large. To get around the city itself, everybody is walking. Not many. If you are trying to get outside the city, you're using a Vespa or a car of some sort, you take the train, but everybody is walking away. When you get into bigger cities, that's where you start to see more individuals who are more physically active and walking to the subways, trying to get from point A to point B. And what, for the large part, we're not active by any means. We do not eat well. We are a society where convenience it aids us in so much. Even thinking about our phones, we can easily just reach down and do a little ChatGPT AI stuff, and we have all the answers that we need. And that kind of starts to kind of push into our day-to-day. So it's kind of like if I want to go somewhere, I just hop in my car and go. If I want to know the answer to XYZ, I can just pull that up real quick. If I want to go to a meal for lunch, I can walk down the street to McDonald's and grab it in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, if that.
Or you can push a couple of buttons on your phone
DoorDash,
and they'll bring it to
you.
you.
Absolutely, yeah.
Even worse.
And then then you think about the financial aspect, and it's kind of like, ooh, if I can go to McDonald's, and fast food's not even cheap anymore.
Nope.
Yeah.
We started, my wife and I, probably back since just before Christmas, we started meal prepping.
Yeah, it's huge.
And high protein,
Yes.
the right kind of macros, et cetera. And we've got that dude down to make like 10 servings, and it's like $3.75 a piece, and we're killing it.
Yeah.
And we're saving so much money, eating so much cleaner, so much better.
And having a good time in the kitchen making it together, probably.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's a quote out there. We feel that we need to rise to our goals to achieve them, but when it comes down to it, we fall to the systems that we have in place. Mm-hmm. And how can we do that more frequently with creating systems? And so for you, Adam, thinking about meal planning, it's going to help me reach my goal. And we as humans went the path of least resistance. And so I think just like meal planning in general is like, how can I be most successful with it? How can I do that consistently? What does that look like? And having your wife there too with you is kind of like thinking about your accountability and support there too.
Yeah.
But it's also the counter to that is like if one of you or both of you don't want to meal prep, it's very easy to not do it at all.
Yep.
So you mentioned something, and I just went back to my work days. I used to be in the sporting goods industry, sports equipment, accessories, as well as all kinds of fitness stuff. Worked under the Nike brand. COVID was a great time for fitness because people were home and people were bored and people said, let's get fit and let's do things. What's happened since COVID? Has that momentum continued on, or has it fallen off?
It's fallen for sure. Yeah. A lot of newer clients that I see now is kind of like, well, the last time I was really fit was COVID times. And it's like you have all this time, you're working from home. So I had a gym in Ludlow, Kentucky. I had it for 7 years. Prior to that, I did a little bit of traveling as I do now to people's homes and what. I closed it in 2019. Traveled for a little bit, coming back. It was 2020, so COVID's just started. But I did 3 months in Southeast Asia, 3 months in South America, and then boom, there's COVID. And so I found a job online for Noom. Noom is a online platform for weight loss. Mm-hmm. And the number of clients that we would receive and we'd be working with 400 plus people per coach. You'd have 400 clients. Wow. And you had a quota. You had to reach 150 messages per day. A lot of people at that time is kind of like, I want to get into it. I'm doing XYZ. I'm able to work out from home. And so they had more time to do it. So people are back to commuting more frequently. People are back to being in-person work. So you're thinking about that 2 hours alone of commuting for a lot of people. You're thinking about the stress from work. You're thinking about having to prep for dinner now again because before you were at home.
Back to convenience.
Back to convenience, yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot more stress in place. 2020 was very stressful for many of us for obvious reasons, but there was a lot more kind of time to do things. We made more time for it. We were thinking about health in general. And so since then it's kind of, we've kind of forgotten about them.
So right before we jump into the conversation about how people our age are doing, the population as a whole, we know you just shared it's pretty rough out there.
Pretty rough, yeah.
What about the younger generation? I've heard some information that maybe they could affect the trend. Like they seem to be much more health-oriented and fitness-oriented than previous generations.
Yeah, I was actually telling Dale that for the Gen Z, millennials, and that longevity is more of the focus now. So there's kind of like this gap.
They're drinking less?
Drinking less. But I have a lot of clients who ask me, what is a good amount of alcohol that I can drink and get away with it? And if you look at the literature now, there is no amount. It's bad. It's not
pretty light.
It's light. Even looking at 4 ounces of I still drink alcohol knowing this literature. all of us can agree that as we age, we know the impact on alcohol in general. We know how it makes us feel the next day. It hits us a lot harder now. It's always funny to me thinking about New Year's. It's kind of like, I'm going to wake up on January 1st, new year, new me. But the night before, I just got trashed because I'm celebrating the year, and now I'm not going to be productive by any means.
It's going to take me a week to recuperate to get my goals started.
It's exactly, yes. Done it too, but it's always funny to have that conversation of like, wait, January 1st, and I'm going to start on January 7th.
I've got to say, though, right now, that conversation about alcohol and
sleep's huge.
Is
you don't
massive
sleep well either.
Between people who are in our age group.
Right.
Everybody talks about how if I drink, I'm not going to sleep as well.
Yeah.
And boy, it's true.
Yeah, even for me now, like I said, I'm 40 now. So even thinking about now, for me, if I have a beard, I feel hot. My body's trying to metabolize it. And the thing is alcohol is a poison in your system. Your body cannot do anything until the alcohol is out. So therefore, my body is trying to metabolize it while I'm sleeping. Therefore, my core temperature itself is going to increase. So that it's trying to work and process everything, getting it out of the system. So anyway, so alcohol, per what you were saying, Adam, the newer generation is not drinking that much. They're looking at longevity in general. And what does that look like? How can we live longer? And I think every generation gets not better, but we can become more aware of what is going on with our health and stuff.
We've talked about the longevity thing. We've had a couple conversations with people who are involved in the Stanford School of Longevity and the UC. I know is thinking about now focusing on longevity, and it's going to be a deal.
Yeah. So let's get to us guys, 55 and up.
Yes.
Sure. What percentage of your client base is that age? And what are some of the consistencies that you see within good habits, bad habits, or no habit at all?
Yeah, good question. In that 55 range, the majority, well over half, everybody's looking at longevity. And so thinking about the question of what is the difference between those when we work out when we're in our 20s and 30s in relation to now, we're always working out for aesthetics. We're always doing that no matter what. As we age, and it's still there. However, we're also really focusing on longevity in general. What is functional fitness? Curt, you were saying before about, being able to shovel snow and whatnot, not have any issues, and your neighbor's asking you, like, oh, how are you doing this? Being able to chop wood. I have clients who tell me, like, yeah, I'm looking to buy a new snowblower, and Josh, you should get one. And I'm like, why? No, I want to be able to shovel my snow as long as possible. But then I did it this year. And we had a lot of snow too this year, but I didn't want to shovel this year. But usually I'm the guy out there who's like shoveling my neighbor's sidewalk and the driveway. And I just love being physical and doing the adventure part of physical fitness versus, yes, the gym can be very boring and what. There's ways to make it fun. I think having that accountability, that social wellness aspect of working together, I think for a lot of people having the accountability of just like teaming up with a friend. If there's so many people out there who want to do this and like get healthy and reach out. A lot of individuals are leaning into their social groups. Instead of going to the bar tonight for happy hour, do you want to go to happy hour at the gym and like get a workout in together?
That's crazy.
Right?
I think this would be a good time to take a quick break. If you're enjoying our show, we'd be incredibly grateful if you could take a moment to comment. And if you like what you're hearing, leave us a 5-star review. Your feedback not only makes our day, but helps other listeners discover our content. Your support through listening, sharing, following, and reviewing means the world to us and helps our podcast grow. Thanks so much for being part of the Redirect family. So let's now get back to our conversation. It's the club that I've been going to since...
The nightclub or the health club?
No, when it opened in 1990. I've been going to the same club.
Yeah.
And their focus on Friday evening, all the social events. Yes. First thing was we got a place for kids. Unreal. All of a sudden, you got Friday night at the pool, but it's just getting people to socialize in the club.
And I was going to say, going back to Adam's question before about what has changed since COVID, now I'm seeing, and we are finding in general, the fitness industry, that people are wanting to join more group classes. So people want to be together. People are seeking more. And we always have our electronic devices and what. There's always notifications coming in. And we're finding even in the technology industry that a lot of that is starting to diminish a little bit. Like we're tired of having so much technology and notifications and social media in general. And there's going to be an increase in people joining classes because people want to be together now. There's that social wellness factor.
And if you go to the gym and you're working out, there's nothing like putting in earbuds and listen to a real good podcast.
Absolutely.
Like the Redirect podcast.
Redirect podcast.
Exactly right.
Yes.
Exactly right. Get inspired. Get motivated, right?
And it's just the length for a workout.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
I love listening to podcasts when I work out. That's just me. Some people are like this like rock music.
Maybe I can give you this sticker, which has a nice QR code on it.
And I have a water bottle that I will apply to it.
There you go.
That way, whenever I'm at the gym, I'll say, hey, what are you listening to? You should scan this QR code. It's the Redirect Podcast.
Wherever you can find podcasts.
By the way, for our audience, and we've been talking about functional fitness and bringing it back to that.
Yeah.
Define functional fitness. What are we talking about?
I think, so I'm a big fan of simplicity. I think to define functional fitness in the most simplistic terms, it is to do a workout of such that mimics things that you do on a day-to-day basis. Carrying the groceries, taking the stairs.
Getting off the toilet.
Yeah.
That's good.
But you're right, though. Even thinking about the gym, the bro days, and you have a leg day, then you also have those who are like, I'm really struggling to get off the toilet after that leg day. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so getting off the toilet, carrying your groceries, taking the stairs.
There's a really great
yes,
ad of
huge.
the old man doing the kettlebells, only to lift his grandkid up for the star in the tree. Yeah.
And when I saw that commercial, I was like, oh, it was perfect. But I mean, that's functional fitness.
So real.
And there's a lot of videos now on social media where you see individuals who are kind of like doing a particular movement, and it's kind of like, people at the gym don't know why I'm doing this. And then it pans over to what they're actually training for. And so the one is kind of like a female, we won't say a mom because we don't know it yet, but a female is holding about a 15-pound dumbbell in kind of like an isometric hold where her cradling. Thank you. Yes, cradling. And so then it pans 9, 10, 12 months later, and she's holding her child. And so that's her specifically training to cradle that 15-pound dumbbell to be her child. And it's a beautiful thing thinking about that. I think we lose touch with what fitness means over time. Why am I in the gym? And I think when we can circle back to like what it means for me to be lifting and getting down and off the floor. Dale was saying earlier about he sees a guy each week, me. I typically, and I find that over time is a lot of individuals like this method that I train, 2 supersets. So when I say a superset, that just means a combination of movements. Typically, I will do a upper body exercise, a lower body exercise, and an ab exercise. So three exercises. And so part of that, I always joke and I say your 4th exercise is you getting off the floor.
Yeah.
But that's where the grunting comes into play. It's like, ugh. So that one in its own is huge.
And I've got to throw this in because you're talking about the core stuff. And of course, we relate it to golf. My wife just recently had surgery, and we were working with her to get out of the recovery bed to walk stairs. And I got to tell you, I'm sitting there concentrating on, okay, if she slips and falls, do I have the strength to be able to grab her and to hold her? And I could feel my core tightening up.
Yeah,
and
you're bracing.
I got some core here.
And that's
now.
what we forget. We forget why we do this. And that's a very easy thing to forget for a lot of people. A lot of people still have this mindset of kind of like, I want to lose 10 pounds. I want to lose 20 pounds. But what is the end goal here?
The functional application.
The functional application, right. the being able to take care of my partner when she's ill or unwell, the ability to get down on the floor with my kids and or grandkids. And when you're able to have that emotional connection to things, that's huge. And we lose touch with that.
So help us make some application to some of our listeners.
Absolutely.
And let's say that I'm 75 years old, haven't worked out in a very long time. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's not worth it. It's too late.
Right.
What advice do you give to that listener?
As I mentioned before, start with simplicity.
It's not too late.
Absolutely. You're never too old to start anything. Be simple. Take a step back. I think even just going for a walk, if the individual is able to, is huge in its own. Walking is something that we overlook, and be simple with it. You can do it from home. You can do body weight. You don't need a lot of equipment by any means. It's so easy for us to overthink things. And it's easy for us to go on the internet and think that we need the best of the best. I had an online client yesterday, and he posed the question of kind of like, hey, I'm looking at this. It's a $1,500 amp. And he said kind of like, oh, but I feel like I need to have this. I feel like I saw this and I need to have it. And I'm like, here's resistance bands, $40 on Amazon. It goes up to 250 pounds. Here's adjustable dumbbells. We're fine to do just body weight now. Let's just start with squats. I love push-ups. It's a very simple movement, and I say simple for a reason. We can get down on the floor. Those who have a hard time getting down on the floor, we can go from an inclined position, and therefore from that inclined position, we're mechanically regressing that movement to make it easier for you.
Yeah, go from your kitchen countertop,
your washer, your dryer, and just you don't need an hour in the day. break it up into so I like to call it snacks. And so it's kind of like 5 minutes here, 10 minutes here, whatever. You just insert it whenever you want in the day. Maybe you're doing laundry in general, and you just do some push-ups off your washer or dryer. Adam, you mentioned the counter one. It's things like that. And then as you progress and you can knock out 10, 12, 15 reps, mechanically decrease the incline. So you might go to your stairs. The stairs are a great way to do it. But using people's homes, that way they can kind of like have a system at home to do things. I'm going to do push-ups off the steps, or I'm going to do push-ups off my coffee table or off the back of my couch, and squats and things like that. Yeah.
So we don't have to do box jumps up onto our kitchen table or leap over the couch or anything.
But the bottom line, it's easy.
It's easy.
It's
easy.
Not hard to get started.
We as humans, it's very easy for us to complicate things.
You say it's easy, and it is once you get into it. The hardest thing is right here.
His head.
The mental aspect is, I've heard many guys in your role say the hardest thing to do is to get in the car to go to the gym.
Exactly. You driving to the gym is the workout on its own. Once you get past that, typically you're in a better place. You can go for the treadmill if you want. I think that's less complicated for most people. Hop on the treadmill, set at whatever pace you want, and just walk. 10, 15 minutes and leave. But simplicity. Simplicity is key.
The mental aspect is huge, as I talk about, to get there. Mm-hmm. But I also want to say this, for me, and I can't speak for anybody else, when I get in there and do my workouts and I'm sore and I'm out of breath and I've got sweaty shirts on, when I walk out of the place, the feeling that I have of what I've just done for half an hour, hour and a half, whatever it might be, it just is a great way to get the day going.
Yeah.
And it's just, I feel so much better. My head is clearer. My body feels even, like I say, like right now I'm tight.
Yeah.
But that feels so good. Mm-hmm. It's a good it's a good pain.
It's counterintuitive.
So there's another mental aspect that comes out of the workout that you walk out of there and say, reflect. Look what I just did.
Yeah.
You know, and the thing that worries about me, because I can throw myself back into that younger Curt area where all of a sudden I'm like, I can do 50 of these. And I'm going to do 3 sets of 50 to the point where I'm at that last 5 and I'm conscious on my breathing to make sure, and I'm grunting to get this thing done, because I know back then that was the workout.
Right.
So, but then I'm also thinking, am I doing this to give myself potentially a stroke? Is my heart going to stop?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, we'll find out.
So
here lies Curt under the dumbbell, under the barbell.
That's a good way to go. But was the dumbbell a PR? 2 things came up for me when you said that. One, thinking about 5 reps left. So just a random note. No matter the age, there's a lot of literature looking at what is the best for performance, aesthetics, etc., growing muscle hypertrophy. And we look at repetitions in reserve. You'll see a lot of the times in programs it'll be listed as RIR. And so the best way to go about it is not necessarily to failure, but 1 to 3 reps left in the tank. And this is kind of something that I think a lot of people over the age of 50 especially, and I think this is mostly, back in the day of fitness in general, it was like lots of high rep activity.
Push to failure.
Push to failure, yeah. Mm-hmm. And now you're starting to see all these like rotator cuff issues, shoulder injuries in general, hip issues, etc. Just the overuse aspect. So, but look for 1 to 3 reps. And this is outside of the think basic and what. This is a little more complicated. But when you're lifting, just general advice, see when you're doing your 10, 15, 20 reps, do I have 1, 2, 3 reps left in the tank? And I say that because a lot of people that when I start training them, they're having a conversation the entire time. And I'm laughing right now because I have a client, and the entire time she's telling me stories, and she's like, "Yeah, so this weekend," and she's chest pressing, and 15 reps in. I'm like, "I think we can go heavier weight." Yeah. She's like, "No, that was good enough. That was challenging." I'm like, "Girl, you just told me an entire story, and you weren't even out of breath now." Yeah. But it's also there's this fear of lifting heavier weight too.
I keep reading things, and I keep hearing things about grip strength. Why is grip strength important as you get older?
So good question. There was literature recently looking at grip strength in general, and that's kind of looking at longevity. With grip strength, what is it? At most 60 seconds, but think about grip strength, when you fall, we'll correlate it to that. When you fall, if you do not have good grip strength, which is going to aid in strength of the forearms, strength of the biceps, the shoulders in general, that injury rate will increase if your grip strength is not very good. So we can look at grip strength in terms of like hang time. So I have a couple clients now, they're trying to increase their hang time. If I can hang longer, I can prevent a shoulder injury from when I fall, anything like that.
Yeah, falls are inevitable.
It's inevitable.
Falls are inevitable. And for those, not in decent shape,
right,
they're scary as hell.
Yeah. Hips in general, when we fall, say you fall and your knee goes first, and the femur itself kind of collapses in with the hip. I mean, you've got arterial issues. Landing on the palm, as I said before, it's very easy to fracture and have issues. Thinking about the stories of people who are in car accidents, if I am strong and I was fit and the individual had less injuries, they're able to recover faster. I'm pre- and postnatal certified as well. So thinking about pregnancy, individuals who are fit prior recover from pregnancy a lot faster. So I love adventures. I've done 15 Flying Pig full marathons. I've done a 50-miler, 50Ks. I've done a 100-miler, done 100Ks. I've done rim to rim to rim in Grand Canyon, running that with a couple friends. It's the adventure aspect of it. But recently, was it last August, I was trail running and fell. There's the trauma aspect to my knee. Haven't really ran since August. So there's this identity aspect of like, who am I that I'm not a runner now?
We can recommend a podcast for that.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a good, I've got a QR code right here. I should scan that. And I've finally back to running. I was like, yes. And so my dog and I were running. I've got a waistband. He's pulling at the same time, and he's pumped. Like, it's beautiful out. This is recently when we hit 60 degrees.
Let's go.
Not even 10 seconds. And my knee buckles, and I was like, oh. And so now the conversation is potentially a torn meniscus, and how do I navigate that? And thinking about injury, a lot of us fall into the position that when something happens, worst case scenario, we go down a rabbit hole of just like my entire life is over.
Yeah.
You start going getting fast food. You want more comfort food. You're not as productive and what. And so for me, mindset-wise, thinking about kind of like a growth mindset is like, okay, the knee isn't doing great. I still have a left knee. I'm going to use that to get up the stairs. I can still do upper body and ab workouts at the gym. That doesn't mean I stop working out as a whole. What do I look at instead of running? I go into cycling. I can go into swimming. There are other opportunities to think about. And so I challenge the individual who's listening and struggling because of an injury, etc. There are other opportunities and ways to kind of thinking about exercise in general.
You've made the comment about it's important to work out for longevity, which I'm looking at as like prevention, right? We've talked a little bit about preparation in regard to golf, okay? Yeah. But I also want to say preparation for the age group that we're in that are like going on a trip. And I seem to hear a lot of conversations from people that they went to go to Glacier, they went to a park, they went here and there, and they come back and they have a twisted ankle or they have a this and a that. And I think a lot of us go on vacations or adventures, but we don't prepare for it.
Yes, good.
And I think that is something that is another motivator for the head game to say, well, I've got this cruise lined up, and we're going to be doing a lot of things, snorkeling, and we're going to do some hiking.
Right. It's not just getting your beach body ready.
Right. I got to get my cardio set up. I got to get my aerobic set up. I got to get my strength parts because I'm going to be doing things that I normally don't do, and I want to come back and be able to do more things. So
going back to your question too about clients that I train right now, I have one in particular I think about. And previous torn meniscus, we started working together for that reason. And he was going on a trip to Japan with his wife. And just like thinking about walking in general, like this from the get-go was not looking good by any means. And so we're probably about 6 months out from his trip and stuff. And we're doing typical quad development, glutes, hamstrings, calf work, core in general, but also thinking about weight loss in general to kind of like help with, you're not carrying as much load on, but also the aerobic capacity. But again, we're going to go back to the emotional connection to why I'm doing what I'm doing. So i.e. traveling. They go to Japan and comes back. And even his wife, she was so pumped because previously he had to stay home and she had to do everything on her own. So for her, she was very frustrated but also sad knowing that she couldn't climb this mountain without her partner. And so they did this mountain in Japan. And also they recently just did one in Arizona. But he did the entire thing. And like to see them come back and say, hey, how was your trip? Oh my God, Joshua, it was fabulous. He did this and did that, and we went up, and he didn't have any knee pain. He's like, man, I thought about you the entire time. And I was like, awesome. Darren, the good part or the bad part? But even thinking about, Dale, you mentioned earlier about Fran or core. Do you have the core development to help with Fran falls, et cetera, during the hospital stay? Thinking about my mother-in-law, Sally, they just got back from a trip, and she slipped on some water. When she landed, still had her glass in her hand. She fell basically in a boat pose. She said, my core was engaged, my legs were up, my head was up. I was holding this V-up position, and I thought of you. If I hadn't trained for this fall, like, one, it could have been a lot worse. Like, thinking about landing on your tailbone like that.
Oh, my gosh.
It's so bad.
the first conversation normally you have is, I'm out for 3 months.
I'm out, yeah. So thinking about a fall in general, for most individuals who don't train in a fall, that takes you out for 3 months plus. Yeah. And so for her thinking about not even a week, and she's like, all right, let's go. All in, let's go.
Right.
And so I think kind of like the moral of the story is just thinking about what is your emotional connection to doing what you're doing. And anytime you forget it or you don't want to do it, circle back to that. Right. Have that reminder on a Post-it note somewhere. I'm big on having Post-it notes as reminders because it's easy, especially ADHD, like if it's out of sight, it's out of mind. So I try to have constant reminders, constant systems in place. How do I circle back and remind myself?
And even to your point before, Fran and I were planning on going to Bonaire to snorkel, and all of a sudden we kicked in swimming and getting back into the pool a month. Now, the trip had to get canceled because of Fran's hip replacement. You know, but the whole process of getting back into the pool, back into swimming laps, because I want to keep up with her. She's a great swimmer, and we want to swim out into the ocean. You got to prep for stuff like that. But that was the knowing how much easier it's going to be because I can do it. When I go up and see my grandson now, I know that I can get on the floor and roll with him and get up. I know that I can pick him up. I mean, just pick him up. Huge. Talking about grip strength. Yeah. I want to hold that kid up. I didn't see that video, but man, that hit home because I talk to a lot of people that want to be able to do that or can't because I'm just older and I'm just not that strong. And come on, let's go. You know.
So I think one thing to kind of go with that, we have access to so much information. So it's thinking about how much protein should I have, how much, what kind of vegetables, etc. You can Google everything. We have all the answers right there at the palm of our hand. I don't think it's necessarily information that we need more of. You can get all the answers online. What we're talking about is just the emotional attachment to why I'm doing what I'm doing. Whatever you're trying to aim for, start minimum and then progress from there. And I think at the end goal, thinking about emotional attachment to things. What is that for you?
And go find that young instructor to kick your butt.
You need that drill sergeant.
I'm not even that drill sergeant. I love having conversations in general with clients. And when I closed my gym back in 2019, a lot of my clients said, it's not even the work. I can get a workout anywhere. Yeah. But it's the connection that I have with you in particular, and it's the stories that we have. And I think that when we can find somebody we can connect with and that we can look forward to going to work out and when we can do certain things, and that's the big thing.
No doubt.
Yeah.
So you've got a ton of information.
Absolutely.
I mean, if somebody wants to talk to you about the knowledge that you've got. So how do you get hold of you?
So I've been big on social media recently, so they can find me at Wellness with Joshua on Instagram. I don't do Facebook a whole lot, but you can email me, hello@joshuawilliamreed.com. I know it's a long one. My website is wellnesswithjoshua.com. Yeah, so just look for Wellness with Joshua.
Thank you very much for planting seeds in my head, is that there's so much mental aspect to it as well as looking towards your workout as something to prepare yourself from something for. Let it be longevity. Let it be, if you do fall, to be able to recover better, or working on your golf game, or even a part-time job, or even just, with spring's coming on up. We're going to be outside cutting grass. Got to get ready for it.
Landscaping.
So, and I agree with you. I think that there's more gym outside of our own door in our backyard than there is going into a building.
This year for me, I'll be chasing chipmunks. Sprinting after those little son of a guns.
Please set up cameras in your yard.
So, Joshua, thanks for spending time with us today, and I hope people reach out to you to more advice.
Even if it's just talking. I'm not a salesman by any means. Even if it's just talking about information, I'm struggling with XYZ. I love helping people in general, so please don't hesitate.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you guys.
And thanks for joining us on the Redirect Podcast. Big thanks to the University of Cincinnati's 1819 Innovation Hub for allowing us to use the eSports recording studio to record today's podcast. Catch up on all the Redirect Podcast episodes on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. To begin your Redirect journey, head over to redirect-u.com. Want to connect with the Redirect team? Feel free to email us at info@redirect-u.com. Remember, there's purpose in your life, so find it and go do something about it.
Hey, I've got one more comment. The Redirect Podcast is presented solely for educational and entertainment purposes. We engage in an open, honest conversations about personal growth, life transitions, and the lessons we've learned through our own experiences. While we speak as experts in our own lives, we are not licensed therapists, medical professionals, or certified coaches. The content shared on the Redirect podcast is not intended to be a substitute for professional advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the guidance of qualified professionals for any physical, mental, or emotional concerns that you may have. We're grateful to share this space with you and hope that our stories inspire reflection and connection. If you're in need of more support, we encourage you to connect with a trusted professional who can help.